wapendangi correction, wapendi kabisa. So it's just a cultural thing. They don't need to be leaders. You know, I don't know if I'm wrong to say that, but then we're dealing with the wrong people. They won't take no for an answer. Yeah. We have vibes with them. About Chebukati, I don't know, that one is a clown. There is no discussion there. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you Nancy, we appreciate that. Umetueleza mambo ambayo labda tulikuwa tuelewi. Unajua kuna vile ambavyo people are culturally brought up. There was a time when I was in college, we had a lady lecturer, and in fact she was the head of the department. Then we had this tall guy, and he could not sit in class when the lady comes to lecture. And so we asked him, what's the problem? He said, in our culture, we don't listen to women. Women are children. And he had to fail the course than sit in class and take lectures from a woman. And he's stubborn. And so cultures have a way of programming people. And if people don't get exposed in good time, they just get spoiled along the way. And so please, it's good that you have helped us into trying to understand the cultural influence. But all in all, the Kenya Constitution is supreme, and Kenyans are right anywhere they live by constitutional provision. It is not a favor of anybody. It's not a goodwill of anybody. The president or no president, the Kenyan man, Kenyan woman is rightfully where they are. They should not be troubled, especially if they are in a place for business and they have made what is required to do business. You cannot chase them away because they are lawyers. Of all things to consider, I mean, why should you criminalize somebody because of their tribe? So let's have this discussion openly. Asante sana kila mmoja. Kama uja subscribe kwa Sound Candid Talk, please harakisha kabla uchelewe. Utapitwa na mambo mengi sana kwa sababu uja subscribe. And you are joining us on Facebook, please be a follower of Mtembei Official. We need that also to build up and become a household whatever page in terms of reaching more people. So help us also in getting more people to follow. Don't just watch alone, listen alone, or subscribe alone. If you subscribe one person, get us 5 people to subscribe under you. You are helping us build the Kenyan family here that meets to discuss Kenyan manenos na tutasonga mbele vivyo hivyo. So tunarudi kwa juu. Asante sana kwa kina dada kwa mchango wenu na tunaomba tusonge mbele. Also as a reminder, yesterday nilingatuka nikisema we have a deficit of 7K to clear up on our bills. And so I thought wale watu walisalia walifanya hiyo kazi, lakini nimeamka nikakuta hawajafanya hiyo kazi. Kwa hivyo tumalize hiyo kazi leo tafadhali. It's just 7K. Tutakuwa tumemaliza maneno ya bills mpaka next end month kusort hiyo maneno wakati mwingine. So I will be sharing the number to use for M-Pesa, and in case M-Pesa doesn't work in your place and you want to participate in this, you inbox me, then we arrange on how you will be able to send your contribution. Mark Malin, ni Malin ya mama? Bwana Mark, unmute first, you're still mute.
Hello, how are you?
Great. Karibu, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, everyone?
Fine.
So I'm happy to be here. I have a few issues. Probably I would like to start with some questions. So my questions and my concern probably will be You know, we are used to Baba always claiming he's stolen, his victory has been stolen. Then he mobilizes people. Then I'm a follower of Baba, but unfortunately, I'm of the idea that if his call for demonstrations won't change the current situation, then it's good we never had the demonstrations. Number two, I'm concerned how legitimate is the whistleblower? If he's genuine and legitimate, why now? Why did he keep quiet and then come up when we've wasted a lot of time, we've suffered because our victory was stolen? Why did he come up now? And the last question would be, you know, there are two ways the opposition can play its role. It's either become a strong opposition or continue with the demonstrations, then in the end probably overthrow. I don't know whether the right term is to overthrow, but to make sure Ruto gets out of that seat. Then my other probably addition would be, currently I'm speaking, I'm in Nandi County. That is where I stay currently. I work there. And it's very unfortunate to hear what has happened to Uasin Gishu. Very unfortunate actually. But I think Waswahili wanasema dalili ya mvua ni mawingu. I think from last year, we had the same, or almost the similar thing happening to the likes of Oscar Sudi. I think you guys can remember there is a time when he was calling for some guy, the provincial somebody, a PC there. That guy was to surrender his job and quit. So I think the people from those sides are like, they are of the same habit. But that is very unfortunate. We should be united. I come from Korea, and I can promise you Kenya is the best place to be. There, we normally stay at the border. Normally, you cannot cross to Tanzania freely. But you know, in Kenya, you are very free. You can move from here. You go sleep in Mombasa. You go even climb a mountain there in Ukambani. Nobody will question you. So I think we should make Kenya what we want, the way you want it to be. And this is the very best place you can ever be. Lastly, probably I would like you, maybe the panel, to help me understand, if at all, is it possible that we know we are a sovereign state? This goes to the call that Baba made earlier during one of his meetings, that he wants the UN to come and, no, not the UN, the Commonwealth Secretary to come and oversee the process of ensuring that what happened the last election was either fair or when something went wrong. So given that we are a sovereign state, will the Kenyan government or our current government allow interference from outside? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marlin. Very good questions and nice observations. We appreciate that. I would also open that for the rest of the panelists probably to weigh in, but very briefly. But this is what I would say. We have gotten so much achieved in this country through demonstrations and, of course, mass action. And probably if we have anything that we are sure it works every time it's engaged, it's mass action. And in terms of changing the constitution, doing away with bad leadership, getting rid of rogue IBC officials, and all that. It has brought much, and of course, legislation, also progressive legislation, has come out of demos, mass action, Kenyans stepping up and saying no to bad leadership. And so that question, it works. It has worked in the past. We believe it will work this time. I'm happy that you're also saying that if these demos are not going to give us the victory, we should stop them. And that is the warning and the straightforward communication that Raila has gotten from the people. If you are not in this up to the end, tuache tu mapema. Lakini kama tuko kwa hii, lazima tupate mbuzi yetu mzima mzima. Hakuna sikio, hakuna kwatu zinakwenda na mtu yeyote. Tunataka kichwa mpaka kwatu zote. No sharing power, no handshake, no in between settlement. UN and Commonwealth are not nations. They are whatever organizations of different nations, and they are for resolving disputes between nations. And of course, like what we had, if the election we had gave us a president who did not win the elections, and then the Kenyan people are angry, they are taking to the street, and then Kenya disintegrate, it's the UN and Commonwealth will be losers because one of their main partner is collapsing. So it is their duty to see to it that they intervene into this matter. And their invitation is also that if they look the other side, because they did not come in a good time. So it is part of their responsibility. It is not interference. So it's different when America is interfering or Britain is interfering, but Commonwealth is the countries that subscribe to that. And then UN, of course, United Nations, their duty is to see to. And so they can come in, whichever that will be settled. It could be they put up an interim government, organize a fresh election so that we determine the president. Or get like was it called Bagbo, the one president, and then he was chased. The other president was made. I think nani atatupatia information. Secretary General, unasemaje?
I just wanted to weigh in on the questions of Mr. Mark. One of like what you're addressing about Raila inviting the UN or the Commonwealth, I think that was an impossible request. Raila was playing what we call high octane politics, because he said if they are not going to be here in 2 weeks, then the people of Kenya will take matters into their hands. Hello, huyo mzungu ni kama ametumwa na UDA, so Nkama is interfering with the panel. But what I'm trying to say, Bernard, the request by Raila Odinga was an impossibility, because there is no way Kenya Kwanza will invite UN here or Commonwealth here. And Raila knows the end game. The end game is they will not invite, so the ultimatum will pass and we'll take matters into our own hands. What that means is that according to the Constitution of Kenya, we can exercise our powers directly or through our elected representative. The Constitution gives us the power to exercise our sovereignty directly. However, once the 2 weeks are over, we have the mandate and the powers as the people of Kenya to take matters into our own hands. Number two, you asked why the whistleblower came now and not earlier. I want you to go to YouTube when you're free and Google a documentary called X-Files. X-Files means files that actually were sometimes closed, but they were opened with new evidence. In life, my brother, there is no early or late coming when it comes to evidence. In fact, the reason why we need a constitutional change in this country is because even the time given to adduce evidence to Supreme is very, minimum. It's for 14 days. And when you have a chairman like Chebukati, who was controlling IEBC like his own kitchen, you want to know where all the spoons are, it is very difficult to get the evidence. Now that he has gone, it is very easy now to audit and find the truth of that election. So the whistleblower came at the right time. There is no wrong time. And now that we know Raila won, it is upon us in 2 weeks to take matters into our hands and take back our power, take back our right, so that the majority can have their way and the minority their say. Or just answering Mark.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that's hey, Mr. G, I'll give you half a minute because tukianza hivi tutakosa mkururo, tutaanza kukosea watu.
Thank you, Bernard. I agree with you guys. I think I will concur with what Secretary General has said. It was just a game changer. When Raila talked about the issue, he was just setting the bar high, whereby our to UDA, they cannot miss the demands. Okay, in 2 weeks, hakuna even Commonwealth anaweza kuja Kenya and do anything. But he knows where the game is. That's why he's closing. But my question, I just have one question to this guy called Mark on the issue of numbers. Mark, do you believe those numbers or bado na argue with those numbers?
Which numbers? The votes?
The ones you are dispute right now. The numbers from whistleblower.
No, they look realistic. You know, if I look on the facts, from even the campaigns, you know, it's like even from opinions, most people are preferring Baba, but I was shocked when the result didn't go Baba's way.
But you still have doubts. Kwa nini Baba amechelewa, si ndio?
No, one of the reasons. Sorry, in fact, one of the reasons why I doubt Ruto's victory is because this guy is still in campaign mode. It's like he's used to. He's never thought of being a president because now he's acting the similar way like the guys of Ndindi Nyoro. Instead of uniting us, he's forgotten that he's the president.
Okay, then I'll come back later. Mshaipata na alikuwa atakuja kitu fulani lakini mshajua mali yuko sawa. Atakuja baadaye.
Sawa Mr. G, asante sana kwa hayo na mimi that matter is settled. We'll be weighing on when is your turn to make your submission. I want us to stick within our standing orders. You keep your mic mute until it's your turn to speak. If you want to intercept, you lift your hand and then we'll consider. It is in the discretion of the chair either to pick on you or keep you waiting because you have to moderate the conversation for our viewers to make sense of what is happening on the panel. And on the comment sections, there are people with hate speech and venom in terms of their comments. Instead of them debating, they're busy spilling what should not be. Such people, we block them and ban them from the channel. And that is something we have no apologies for because we really want to build a better Kenya, and a better Kenya requires better people. And better people are born out of better debating and better conversing. Thank you so much. Naomba tumsikilize nani? Tumeruka nani? Tunasikiliza Joshua. Tukimaliza Joshua tuende kwa Moses ndio turudi kwa Mr. G. If I'm not wrong. Alex alikuwa hapo katikati. Joshua, karibu. Na wale watu wa mzungu tafadhali, mtu akikuja hapa ni bibeta, okay? Mwachane maneno ya kuita wazungu na nini, na mwache kutetemeka. Akikuja atapeana maoni yake vile anaona, lakini atulie, inaonekana network yake haijasimama vizuri. Tunamsubiri pia. Thank you.
So, habari zenyu popote mlipo, mnanisikia? So, kabla sijaanza, wacha nimsaidie ndugu yangu Mike. Mike anasema ajui kama baba alishinda. Hiyo kitu inajulikana ulimwengu mzima. Ya pili, katika United Nation katika, wacha niseme, pamoja na nafanya nazo mbili hapa Ujerumani. Nafanya na Commonwealth. Those are 70 countries. Those are not parties. Ya pili, wacha nimsaidie tena kusema ya kwamba kama kina Mother Koome, hiyo ni commission. United Nation is a commission. Commonwealth is a commission. Hiyo ya kina IBC ni commissions, sio parties. So ama sio country plani ambayo zina kama America na wengine. Hata Bernard anaimba kila siku hapa, mimi wanasikia akiwa correct mistakes. Wacha niseme kuhusu Bwana Chupkati, na mimi naenda kuwa too straightforward. Leo hakuna kuzungumza mengi sana. Na muonya Bwana Chupkati, yeye ni mwanasheria, achukue sheria vile sheria ziko. Kwanza yeye anatakana kuwa ndani wakati huu. And I will make sure 100% Bwana Ruto anisikize, na anisikize vizuri sana. Mmecheza na binadamu, na sisi tutawachukulia sheria. Wacha hizo zenyu za bandia za Kenya. Bwana Ruto ananijua vizuri sana, na hii imfikie wale wako kwenye comment na wale wanasikiza upande huo mwingine. Hapa anacheza na maisha ya binadamu, sio upande ule mwingine wa Uhuru Kenyatta. Leo Uhuru Kenyatta wanalala na Uhuru Kenyatta, wanaamka na Uhuru Kenyatta, wanaamka na Raila. Hao watu wako serikalini. Wananchi wana yao watu. Hao ndio wanatuajiri, hata ingawa mimi sija.
Battery is low. Please recharge in time.
Wasikubaliwi kuzungumza mambo ya siasa, lakini saizi hata wenzangu, makolleagues wangu wamesema nizungumze na nisaidie nchi yetu. Na hii si mzaha, ndio kwa sababu hapa sicheki leo. Matiang'i leo anazungumza. Uhuru hajawahi kuzungumza, anazungumza leo. Na matamshi yao,
battery is low. Please recharge in time.
Akili timamu, mjue Ruto sio rais wa nchi hiyo ama nchi yetu. Ya pili, hii mambo ya kushika watu ovyo ovyo ndio ilitokea wakati ile ya kuchoma makanisa Eldoret ama Molo ama popote pale. Naonya Bwana Ruto, wacha niseme ya kwamba
battery is low. Please recharge in time.
Mahali utapelekwa kotini Kenya, sisi tutakushtaki na sheria za ulimwengu. Na wote ambao wanafikiria ni wafuasi wake, wakifikiria wako above the law, we have international laws. Na wa Kenya ni among a member of international communities. Na hapa mbele ya Mwenyezi Mungu, bila kuficha mtu yoyote hapa, I will not tolerate such a nonsense. Kama mimi nafanya na watu ambao wanafanya na sheria na tunasaidia nchi zingine nje, lazima tusaidie Kenya yetu. Baba anazungumza leo, mnaona wa president wote ambao walikuwa karibu pale na wale walikuwa pale walisimama akienda kukaa. Wanamheshimu kama rais. Uhuru Kenyatta anajaribu kutengeneza peace all over East and Central Africa. Naye sisi tunajaribu kuunguza Kenya. Bwana Ruto, na kuonya, take this message from anybody who is here na wale wako huko nje. Na hiyo nini wanahitaji hiyo network kutoka Uganda ambaye inazuia network zingine watu kuzungumza. Hapo watu wanatupwa nje. Popote kuna mkutano ya watu wengine wanazima kuongea. You have no right whatsoever. Na mtu yoyote atashikwa tena, Martha Koome and your goons. Plus, I mean it. Bwana Gachagua, stop it from today onwards. This is my message to everybody in Kenya. Kenya is a peaceful country ndo kwa sababu watu wapigani, because discipline ile tulipewa wakati ule tulikuwa wadogo wa 70s na 60s, that discipline is there. Na wanajeshi wanaweka discipline na wananyamaza pale. Yani wanachokoza simba chini ya miti anelala na ananja. Wakenya watakujia, and that country belongs to Kenyans. Kenya will stay, but Ruto will go. I mean it, and I mean it seriously. Popote utataka kunipeleka, hauwezi. Mimi ndo nakupeleka, and you know me very well. Leo hakuna mzaha. Asante Bwana Bernard kwa yote unayoyatenda na kusaidia Kenya yetu. Na wale wanasimama hapa wakijaribu kutetea Kenya yetu, nashukuru sana. Na wale wanakuja kuharibu mtandao, shame on them, because hao ndo wata face difficulties. Thank you so much, you guys. Bye bye.
Okay, asante sana Bwana Solo. We appreciate that, and it is important that we stick out our necks to save the country from going the wrong direction. It is our civic duty, and we will be here, we will talk, we will shout, we will scream until the right thing is done. What we say and keep insisting is that the 2010 Constitution is not a piece of paper. It's a living constitution that needs to be respected. And if it is spelled for us on how to get a president, we should get a president according to the Constitution, not according to Chebukati, not according to IEBC. A president is a president because he meets the threshold that the Constitution has laid out. A governor is a governor because they meet the threshold that has been laid down in the Constitution. The same to the member of parliament, the same to the senator, and the same to the member of county assembly. If we don't want these people to meet the threshold set out in the Constitution, then let us agree. We put away the Constitution and allow everybody to become MCA the way they want, become president the way they want, become governor the way they want. But we cannot play games when it comes to somebody subverting the Constitution to make themselves president against the Constitution. That is unacceptable. And so every Kenyan of goodwill, let us stand up and be counted. Ujinga, tusikubali kuvumilia ujinga. Lazima tusimame na tuambiane ukweli mapema. Asante, naomba tuendelee mbele, endelea kukaribisha wawili watatu, tumakinike pamoja tukijifunza siasa zetu, na ukipata nafasi ya kusema yale yaliyoko moyoni mwako, jinsi unavyoona nchi inaendelea. Kuna video kadhaa ambazo nimeweka mkururo, naomba nicheze moja kabla tumlete Moses, alafu tusonge mbele. Thank you so much everyone. Let's keep moving and participate. Don't just watch. It's loud and clear. Please let us know so that we know where you are and whether we are getting there well or not. We are also urging you to subscribe to Sound Candid Talk, our new channel that we want to build, able to stand on its own. Please help us by recruiting for us subscribers in your sphere of influence. Let's listen out to this video before Moses makes his submission. Oh my God. Sorry, there's a problem with the audio. Let me work on that first. All right, Mr. Moses, you can come through, then I check out the audio of this video, what the problem is.
Oh, thank you, Bernard. Hi to all the panelists and our viewers outside there. Hope we are all doing well regardless of whatever we are going through, whatever is happening. So let me also start with Mr. Mark. You know, the whistleblower was never late. According to me, Chebukati was a dictator in that IBC office. Because when he is still there, people were fearing and people could not access some of the information, and maybe they were fearing. But after, if I'm not mistaken, that information came out after his end of his service. So they were waiting for him to exit. Then, how I wish the Taylor was there. I wish. I'm very sure everything would have been clear by now. Because even those servers would have been open. Once a chairman leaves, automatically his deputy will take over. So they were never late, and it's the right time. They have come in the right time, and here we go. Another thing, Bernard, you know, a president, a leader who comes in the office and instead of, you know, doing things the way they are, doing things in the correct way, and just starting, he's doing things to work and in terms of revenging, you know. If you work to revenge, to prove, to show people that you are the one with power, you are the one having power, that one will take you nowhere unless you are just digging a grave for yourself. Because these governments, ever since they came in power, they are not doing anything for the good of the country. They are just revenging, rewarding their royalists, you know, proving, showing that, you know, brains works. We don't use force. Force can never work, you know. Otherwise, people would have used axe to peel bananas and cutting onions. But, you know, it cannot do that. So it's better you do as a president. How I wish. I saw today, Bernard, I saw the former president giving a speech in the late Makwa's place. My brother, you see the dignity, the symbol of the leader, you know. He's out of the office, but he speaks with his dignity, you know. You see someone who is, you know, a leader. The point, whatever he talks, because they have been talking about, oh, you know, these people are not paying tax, you know, they are attacking him indirectly. People thought that maybe he will also attack them, but see how the speech that he gave. And he, at the end of it, he responded to them. You know, people who are, you know, making noise, people who have nothing to do, always make noise. Let them keep not making noise as we push on. So you see the image, yeah, the real leader. Someone speaks with knowledge, with courage, with, you know. I was like, is he the president? Or you see how respect, even his former ministers, how they are unite, you know. When he was arriving there, you may think, yes, I thought he's a president, or you see that respect. But these people here, they should learn from, you know, when I was young in Benin, I used to hate people who always lead me in class. I could go back home and I tell my dad, I don't like sitting with that guy. That guy is always a number one, second, and at times I don't know how it happened. But my dad gave me advice that, you know, if you see someone is clever and wise than you, befriend him or her. Then you will learn from, you correct your mistakes through him or her. And these people, they should go and they should start, that's you know, that it will take them there, it will take them nowhere. Let them go and ask the guidance how to run the government. Because when they were given a chance to, they are counting people that, you know, these are the government, where were they? Ruto was a deputy president. They are talking of the price of things shooting high. How I wish Baba, the lecturer, if he comes, let him break things down. The time of who exited that government, how much was the price of these things, commodities, they are never the same. Things are going high every day. And they are here, you were present, you are just lamenting, you are just crying. You are not a crying baby. You have powers. If you know people are not paying tax, why do you take them in rallies? Go and issue orders that from today on, give them summons. You are the president. Eh? You are crying like me and Bernard who has no power. Now, how can people believe in you that you are the president, that you can do anything? And you see how these people are acting, Bernard. It is so shameful. You are appointing people giving jobs in gatherings. This is the third time I see that Shagwa is giving people jobs in gatherings. You especially for how about those who have no access to access you, who cannot reach you? How will they get? How will they be employed? This is a government. That is a bribe. You are bribing people in their lives, broad daylight, because people they never voted for. Now you want to win people's yard, but that one Bernard will never work. It will never. Render the power and support. It's just there for time being, but it will always disappear. Things will always run to the normal way, come to the reality. I saw instead of these guys always speaking too much English and vocabulary when the prices of things are shooting high, it will never change anything. If I were one of them, I would have started listening to what citizens are saying. What are the things that are making these people go their lives hard making their lives difficult, And you start working on them one by one. You give people hope, but each and every day you are like, you give people hope, you make people become hopeless, and the country is with no hope. It's very dangerous. It's just a time bomb. Anytime it will, it will burst. So we talked about this balded head guy, Kat. I think this guy, it was a mistake even to give him that post. He claims to be a lawyer, but these are the people that should be investigated. Because being a lawyer doesn't just speak anyhow like him. You have to keep your profile. But the day Baba announced that I have a video, I have a photo in my house. What was he after? Why did he come to my house? He did not say, I'm bringing for you. He was giving to the public court. A public court these are the citizens, people that were there in Jacaranda and those ones outside watching whatever is happening. People who are demanding their victory. He never said he will take the cut. If you were a lawyer and you're asking, I'm giving you 7 days to bring for me a video. As who? Are you a judiciary yourself? That's why sometimes people like him should be, question mark. Put a question mark on them. You're a lawyer and I speak like someone who is a peasant there in Galilee. So sometimes then lastly, Bernard, these people here, you and I know very well that if you are going through pain, if you're having pain, the only person you listen to is the person who is giving you the way or medicine of healing that pain that you're having. Right now, Kenyans are in pain. So no matter how much English and vocabulary you use and blackmail will never attract the attention of Kenyans. They will look where it's like, I don't know whether these people have advisors or they don't have. Just they are still at one point they are doing what I can give them a credit. You remember I said once the Bible is being put down, the price of things is put down. But they are still holding it. Better they don't. They are still holding it. That's why you never find them missing church, meetings. They are still having a Bible. Not that they don't want to put it down. So maybe if you ask them, they'll say, we are still having a Bible here every Sunday and Saturday we're in the churches. So these are the people that will make, we have common things like Kenya and Uganda, even though few are not right. But like in Uganda, Bernard, where we are now, it started like this. And there are certain things that we admire like Uganda. We admire from Kenya. We wish to happen in our own country also as well. But at least you have somewhere to go and see. Let me go and see our former presidents. You know the address. In Uganda, you can never find. They will not take you to the graveyards. This was the former president. Whoever comes must die from death in power. If not, you will go in exile. You see? So these current governments, if it survives, the road they have opened for you, the borders are open. When you are coming to Uganda direct express. So that is the road, because people who cannot listen, this is our chaos. They cannot listen to anyone. They are not ready to perform their duties. They are always, one of my uncle told me that living fake life is very expensive. And this is exactly what this government is doing. They are living in fake. Everything around them is just fake, faking, making themselves to appear like they know what they are doing. I saw Korea today, yesterday, giving a speech somewhere that now he's being given a chance, whatever he was wishing to, it has now his dreams have come true real. Now he's doing things that he ever wished to do. If I may ask him, ever since he was appointed, what has he done? What has he done? What has he delivered as a minister of, is it minister of business or what? I cannot say exactly. But what has he done? The kind of thing you are bringing GMO, maybe the GMO is the that is used to Kenya. So, until you listen to people, today I saw Baba, whenever he goes, I always follow and hear whatever he's going to address there. He was addressing, you see, point after point, as Pan-African, not until we solve these issues of election. It is becoming now a common issue in Africa. And we are here. If we don't solve this, more so, he mentioned in the country, that if these things are never put in the proper way, then Kenya will forever run away from casting their voice, because it is meaningless. It has no voice. What they vote is not what they say. They vote a different person, they announce a different person. So points after point.
Moses, conclude where? Time back.
Okay. Let me conclude with this, Bernard. There is something I've been following in Kenya. It's called opinion polls. Opinion polls, ever since I started following them, they have been always correct. Even not only until this last election, but even in the last election, all the other politicians like President, MPs, MCs were. The question is, why only presidential places we are having question marks? Because if you go back and check, they have been always on point. That also raises a red flag somewhere. So Mr. Bolden Head should go back and give the truth and let him ask for forgiveness and so on and so forth. Thank you, Bernard, for now.
Okay, thank you, Moses. Before we bring Secretary General, let me see if this video is putting in it what? Okay, let's have a brief listen out for Baba's presentation today before Secretary General can come in. The one for Matiang'i, Uhuru Kenyatta, and the rest of the mourners at Magoha's place is available on Sound Candid. You can get the whole of the talk there, but we'll get a few clips to play here. Otherwise, if you want to get the whole of the presentation, is available on Sound Candid. Just go and get it, Dr. Madia, wherever Professor Makoha's eulogy.
Vice Chairman, diplomats, distinguished guests, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. I feel very delighted to stand before you this morning in order to have a discussion with you about a subject that is of great importance to the peoples of Africa. I'm standing here in Nigeria, very much aware that out of every 5 working black men in the world, Nigerian. Nigeria, therefore, is the giant of our continent. And they say that when Nigeria coughs, the other part of Africa catch colds. To be speaking to you at this distinguished forum on a subject of credible elections and economic transition. I was invited at the time. I don't know whether I was the person to talk about this subject today. I'm going to try not to disappoint. This discussion comes at the time we are grappling with this same matter back home in Kenya, following our last elections last year. Professor Makau has shared with you certain issues, but I don't want to go in that direction. Back home, I have expressed fears that if we do not comprehensively address the issue of credibility of this election outcome last year, the virus will spread and affect the upcoming elections on the continent. More immediately, Kenyans may lose all faith and decide to boycott future elections because they will believe their votes do not matter. Kenya has become a laboratory for bad election practices that others borrow around the continent. You may recall that our malpractices of 2007 quickly became the tip for Robert Mugabe in Zimbabwe. Since then, more of our neighbors have followed suit and perfected the use of technology to the will of the people, the voters. As a Pan-Africanist, an optimist, I fully subscribe to and support Africa 2063, which seeks the socio-economic transformation of the continent. And I'm also a student of late Kwame Nkrumah, who said that Africa must unite in order to progress. But to send a red flag at this forum, if Africa wants to achieve the goals of Agenda 2063, then we must prioritize and entrench free, fair, and credible elections by all member states. Since the reintroduction of multi-party in the 1990s, and credibility of our elections have steadily deteriorated. You remember the struggle for democracy from independence in the 60s to the 70s, 80s. Africans were struggling because the period after independence, most multi-party systems were discarded. Two-party dictatorships took root, followed by military coups. The Africans were struggling to open up the democratic space. It was not until the fall of the Berlin Wall and that the wind of change that began to blow in the Eastern Europe fought its way into our continent. The military dictatorship then crumbled, and single-party dictatorships gave way to multi-party elections. In many of our countries today, election management bodies have been captured by the ruling parties or individual politicians, making it impossible to have fair contests. The capture leads to skewed process, upon appointment of election management officials with disastrous consequences. We have to agree critical development efforts without a legitimate and democratically elected government that is responsive and accountable to its citizens and to the investor community. Free and fair elections are indicators to investors that the government which is in place that believes in fairness and the rule of law. In through a fair ballot, investors get the reassurance that taxation will be fair, investment rules will be simple and clear, and they will not have to resort to corruption and bribery to set up or stay in business. Illiberal regimes send signals that are direct opposite of what the investors are looking for. Professor Mike Touchton of Boise State University in the US wrote, and I quote, "Many investors conclude that governments that violate electoral laws to stay in office would also be willing to violate investors' property rights. If the election was rigged and the leader is overriding laws and constitutional provisions, no one in the country can stand up to the government. And so investment falls because there's a lot of economic risk in doing business in countries with unconstrained governments," unquote. Regimes that come to power by rigged elections cannot guarantee judicial independence and other state for a good investment climate. We therefore need to internalize the fact that elections are important political risk assessment tools for investors. Investors look at how elections are being conducted before they can risk their investment in that environment. I must hasten to add here that by investors, I'm not simply talking about foreign investments. I refer also, most importantly, to domestic investors. Africa still swings in fortunes before, from bad to better and back to worse. Much, if not all of those swings have resulted from elections that fail to meet the minimum standards for free elections. In other cases, there are no elections at all. In the mid-1990s, Africa was very hopeful following the introduction of multi-party politics on the continent. Our leaders and intellectuals proclaimed an African renaissance. The grim days of post-colonial Africa were declared over. The Cold War, too, was over, and with it, the misrule and dictatorships perpetuated by military rulers, big men, and presidents for life. I recall in 1994, our very own President Nelson Mandela, Madiba, declared, and I quote, Africa cries out for immense action, say that there's no obstacle big enough to stop us from bringing about a new African renaissance, unquote. I recall
Okay, thank you. That's the first part of Baba's presentation. We'll be sharing the other part later on. I want us to keep with the conversation. Inaonekana Secretary General dropped out. There is also 2 other videos that I'm working on to make them available. Thank you, those of you in the comment section. It is important that we stick on what is right. Kuna NFL anasema Pastor hata 2023 unalia. I don't know what you mean, and it will be very unfortunate if you think that insisting on what is right in kulia. It just shows how probably you can't compute in your system on the importance of right dealing in our society, and in ensuring that the future cannot be built on lies. It can only thrive on truth. Okay. Oga, you're back. We welcome you back. Thank you, Mr. Themba. Good to see you. Long time.
Yeah, good to see you too, Bernard. How have you been?
Great.
I see you have Mark Martin and Joshua Osolo. Nice to see you both.
Okay, asante sana, karibu. Well, ladies and gentlemen, tuendelee kukaribishana tafadhali. It is early in the day. Lazima tuzungumze masuala haya na tusimame kinyume na wale ambao wanataka uongo ama wanataka uongozi wa uongo. Tumesema hapa Kenya kwamba uongozi wa uongo mpaka ufike kikomo. Tunataka viongozi ambao wamechaguliwa na watu wengi, viongozi ambao wamechaguliwa na Wakenya, si wale wamechaguliwa na Chebukati na Kamango. Mtu amesema ile mzungu alikuwa hapa ni Kamango. Anasema tumwachilie atupatie evidence. Mimi nasema yeye amekuwa inatumika. Hezi kuingia ndani tena. All the same. Thank you. So let's move on. I don't know if Mark, you have something to say before we bring in Mr. Themba.
Hello. No,
Yes, you can get you ahead.
I wanted to say that maybe probably we should be thinking about our country from a bigger perspective. I've realized over, at least in the last few years, that probably where the rain started beating us is when we started thinking about making money from politicians. We always think from the onset when they start campaigns, we only think that person who tunasema ule mtu alitupatia kitu tukakula is the person we can vote in, and that is a wrong perspective. So when you go around, you see someone campaigning around the country and they cannot give you even 50 shillings.
you start thinking, huyu siwezi mpatia kura. I saw there is one word that interested me so much from Nakuru. Somewhere there is a place called Gilgil. There is a guy there who was elected as an MCA the previous election. I was still there in school. And that guy actually used to sell charcoal to people. So people understood they had nothing to offer. And he just built the trust with people. People believed that he could change things. And just like that, and he went through. So I think actually it's high time we started thinking how we can believe in the policies just like other countries do, like in the US, rather than expecting people to bribe us, so that we just vote for even for thieves. Most of the time we vote in poor leadership just because tunasema walitupea kakitu. So I don't know what we are going to do, whether we start a civil education or we educate people that we do not have to be bribed to vote. I think we are in the situation we are because we have that perception. I don't know where it came from, because it is rooted in most of us, even our parents.
Okay. So Mr. Mark, that is a very important observation that I think is the greatest capital that our current politicians invest in most. And from where I sit, it's not that it yields results. It creates a perception that makes cheating possible. Because nobody will come out to listen to me because I'm not credible, I'm not believable, and I'm not trusted. But if I come to do a rally and I'll be giving out 200 shillings, you will come for the 200 shillings, okay? And then the media will cover that so people came to attend the meeting. Then it will create a perception that this person must have a support base. And then when now you do the rigging and chini ya maji, people will be left with doubts, okay? We didn't vote for him. Tulikula pesa yake, lakini we didn't vote for him. But how come he got the votes? Okay? And that's where the confusion is with the Kenyan voters. They know who they voted for. They know who should fail in this election. Hakuna mtu anaenda kupiga kura kama ajui nani anataka anguke na nani anataka kushinda. And the majority go and vote a certain way. But the system that is in effect through the corruption, okay, makes sure that whoever pays the most gets the seat, regardless of how many votes they get. Na hapo ndio shida iko. Kama IBC haitafanya kazi yake, hata tukifundisha watu kutochukua hiyo hela ama kuchukua hiyo hela, we can vote 100% and still get 2%. Like when you look at those revelations by the whistleblower, okay? There are places where the votes were switched, okay? The ones for Ruto that were less were given to Raila, and the ones that were more for Raila were given to Ruto deliberately, okay? So there is a lot that really goes into, especially the presidential election. The presidential election is very high stake, especially with a desperate candidate. You know, there are people who go for the race, they want to win or lose because they participated in the election. Lakini kuna wale wanaenda kushinda na watafanya vyovyote vile watangaze kwamba ni washindi, hata kama kura zitoshi. Like this ya 2022, they rigged first phase, okay? Kura hazikutosha, wakafanya weka pause kwanza tutengeneze maneno. They went for second phase. Second phase rigging is what brought out this storm, okay? Because after rigging and adding votes for Ruto, they still could not beat Baba. That's when they called for another delay and then another filling up. Na hiyo filling up ndio ileta kizaza. wangepita na hiyo first win ya rigging, hakuna mtu akikundua kwamba kuna mchezo hapa ulichezwa. But all in all, we will defeat these people. We just need to make sure that the evil they planted does not generate the profit they hoped for. Yes, Bwana Mark.
You just reminded me. You know, there are so many things that happened during the election that probably the whistleblower may reveal them. You know, I understand there are two friends of mine. Actually, they never voted. They went to the polling station to vote, but they realized their votes had been cast somewhere in the Rift Valley. Actually, up to now, they accept. They are not from Baba's side, they're from the other side, but they already, their votes had been cast somewhere else, and those guys had not went to vote. So you can imagine somebody who is close, actually my uncle. They woke up in the morning to go to vote, but when they went to the polling station where they are supposed to vote, they were told, you voted already at 8 a.m. in the morning. So how many of such instances happened throughout the country and were to the advantage of somebody else? It's very unfortunate.
Thank you. So electoral fraud is complex in this country, but we hope to fix that. Mr. Temba, karibu tafadhali. Mawili matatu tukisonga.
Yeah, asante sana. Thank you so much, Bernard, for this opportunity. About 2 months, I think I haven't been here. It's been a lot going on. But I've been watching, I've been following to see the debate, the great engagement, and the resilience in the platform. I want to address myself to the topic of today, especially where Chebukati threatens to sue Raila Odinga over video evidence. It is interesting because that was expected. You know, I mean, the reaction you